sails and I can bring them away. You wait the way, the way, up and sail away. I'm driving me, I'm driving me, I'm driving me, I'm driving me.
Alrighty. Welcome to the show, Austin. We're good now.
All right, we're live. Hey everybody, welcome to the Acoustic Shop. It is New Guitar Thursday. We made it. We're towards the last of this week. We're on the downhill slope of this thing.
Yes, we are.
We've got new guitars. So that's what we're here for. My name is Austin. I am lucky enough to be able to take over today because the Chapmans are still out at Merlefest, probably having the time of their life while we're here running the shop.
I bet they're partying. Vince is in here, so Vince,
tell
us how much they're partying right now.
Yeah, you can disclose. You know, it's just between us, so you can tell us all the ins and outs, all the secrets. How are things going?
Please do. All right, and then I'm here as well. Hinkley, I'm the person that sends the questions over to whoever.
She's at the control
whoever
module.
It may be. Yes, exactly.
Running the show.
All right. So
we've got trading behind the camera today. So
absolutely.
We've got the team here ready to go.
It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, definitely let us know where you're watching from. If there's anything you'd like to see or if you have any questions, just let me know. This is going to be fun. One of the things I love is that I am a rhythm guitar player. So I love a lot of different types of guitars that some of the other guys may not get into. So if you like 12 strings or if you have any questions about rhythm guitars, definitely hit me up, man. I'd love to talk about that stuff.
Love that. So why don't we start off with something along the lines of show us what your favorite guitar is currently, Austin, because you are not necessarily on the streams as often.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Show us what your favorite is.
There's a lot of really cool guitars that have come through the shop lately. Man, to say if I had one, that would be tough. There's definitely a couple that I've noticed that have stood out to me, kind of checking the boxes. This one is pretty awesome. Now, it's a D28. I know everybody's seen D28s. This is satin. I know you've seen satin. But as you know, with Martins, every once in a while, one comes through and it just stands out. And that one has got just all of the Martin that I ever wanted. So man, I love this guitar. The satin finish to me just really does help the wood to kind of be able to vibrate a little more freely. Fills the room, man. This thing sounds killer in here. But it's got that nice, powerful top end to it. And of course, the bass is there. Man, this guitar is killer. So this is one of my favorites. I know it's kind of run-of-the-mill, but then again, as a rhythm player, man, this thing's awesome.
Satin is cool. Satin, I feel like, doesn't get looked at enough for sure. I'm going to go ahead and look at some other comments real quick, by the way.
Yeah, hit 'em.
Andy A., thank you for joining us. I think that he was the first one in here. I might be wrong. You never know. Let's see. Herb, or at least he's the first one that I see on the device right now. Herb was in here as well, says, you go, Austin.
Hey, Herb.
Watching live from New York on a subway platform. Awesome. Herb. And then Andy A. here, yep, said that one. Let's see.
Are they starting to drop like flies? You watching the viewership? Oh, that's not John. Ding, ding,
oh,
ding,
that's
ding,
not
ding,
John.
ding.
That's crazy, ain't no way.
Hey,
All
no
right.
J runs today. You got that going for you.
Yeah. All
You
right.
might talk me into it.
That's really funny.
It may end up happening. I'm not
It
saying
may end up
no.
happening. We need an A run,
you
next.
go.
Okay, so Scott or whatever is the first question that I see. By the way, guys, if I for some reason miss any of your questions, please just type them again, and I will try my best to read them again. But
sure.
he is the first question that I see. Can you pretty please? Okay, we need a comparison between an Alvarez LT versus LF,
Okay.
and or LT60 versus LT66 versus LT70.
Okay.
So
there's a
he
gambit
didn't
there.
clarify necessarily exactly which LT versus LF. I guess we can go for whatever we have in, whether it be mahogany or rosewood. I'm
Well,
not
let's
sure.
go with the LT60.
We do have the 66, I believe, right there, right? Yeah.
Is that what this is? That's the, I'm looking at the wrong thing here. Okay, so some comparison to LT66.
And then I'll look and see if we have an LT70.
Sweet. All right, I love Alvarez, so this is going to be fun. Full disclosure, I think I have 4. So the thing I love about Alvarez is their fit and feel. Their guitars are just super comfortable for me. I mean, I guess as a rhythm player, I really like to be able to just play chords and not feel like I'm struggling with the profile of the neck. So therefore, the Alvarez profile has just been perfect for me. So I love them. They do tend to have a nice warm sound. I don't know, I think that bout is a little bit deeper on the side and just gives it a little bit more air, a little bit more space for air to push, and it really gives it a nice warm sound. Comparison-wise, tonally, let me see if I can get a stand. I'll put one of these down and we'll play one next to the other. Set that one. All right, so we're going to start here with the LT60. Yeah, and right away, there's a nice low end and mid-range that's coming out of this thing. I love Alvarez. They really do just have a nice warm sound. I mean, you're not burying the top. It still has the crystally highs there, so it's nice and balanced. But just having this thing in your lap, you can really feel that thing vibrate away. That is an awesome guitar. Beautiful back on that.
All right,
Yeah, that thing is
nice.
awesome.
So I did see, by the way, that we do have an LF 60, so we can at least do a full mahogany comparison
yeah.
of these body sizes for you. Body size plus the all mahogany variety. So that one next, and then I'll grab the other one.
Okay.
It's just over there.
So these things are coming at $13.49. This is the 66. A little bit different tonally. I think it gets a little bit warmer, definitely in the mid-range. Again, I mean, I'm just strumming softly because these guitars kind of ask me to do that. I mean, I think each instrument that you get, they tend to kind of veer toward just a different thing. And I don't find these to be the biggest, most bold note projecting guitars. And I feel like they really just want to be strummed. Great for singer-songwriting stuff. These are awesome.
And then here's the F, the
Thank
OM
you.
variety. And then also, by the way, I saw some other comments in here. Thank you guys so much for the kind comments. A lot of people saying, Austin, you helped them decide their instruments recently. So
Well,
that's super
good.
nice.
Well, good. Maybe they'll keep me around here for a while then. That's what I try and do. I know
Chuck-
instruments are weird because you do have to put them
Yeah.
in your lap, and we do our best to try and connect with you and understand as a musician what it is you're looking for. And it's not a fail-safe, fail-proof process, but we do our best, and that's why we have our return policy. If for any reason you get one and it doesn't check all the boxes, we want you to get that back to us so that we can find the right one.
Yeah. Chuck, namely, is one of them, said, Austin helped me pick my guitar. Thank you, sir. I'm loving it. And then Rick says, hello from North Georgia. Still enjoying the LOM QS that Austin helped me obtain recently.
Yeah, very cool.
Very exciting.
Great guitar, man.
Jack H. also says he has an Alvarez parlor that Corey demoed on Tuesday on the way to his house. Very, very cool.
Yeah, man.
Exciting.
No, we love this stuff.
All right, and this one is still for Scott, asking about the comparison of the three. So here's the LF.
Well, Scott, this comes in at $13.49 as well, and of course this is the classic Sitka mahogany combination. A little brighter on the top end, like the Sitka kind of cuts through. This one's got a little more snap to it, so. Not quite your big bluegrass sounding guitar, but very nice. Yeah, a little bit more cut to the top end and a little more enunciation out of that Sitka for sure. But again, I mean, I just go back to that neck profile. It's really a very slim profile. Those of us who don't have the hugest hands, it really makes it easy for just chording and being comfortable to play. I do like some to have a wider nut width if I'm trying to do bluegrass picking, flat picking, or any individual note enunciation. Sometimes these thinner neck profiles or nut widths can get a little bit tight in just trying to get each individual note. But for just chording, man, these things are great.
Yay! All right, so a couple more things. Peter says, still playing the E10 OOSS SB I got from Austin. Very, very
Nice.
cool. We have a couple of UK viewers that have joined us as well. They said good evening because it's evening.
Awesome, from across the
Where
pond.
those
Welcome.
folks are. Welcome, welcome. Let's see. So I saw another request. Okay, Douglas said, need to see an E20 OM. Do we have an E20 OM? I know
no.
that the Madagascar Rosewood one is gone,
That one did sell earlier.
which it's what it is, guys.
I don't see a 20.
And I know
40s.
for sure that I'm pretty sure what we have over here is what we have. Do we have
Yeah.
that 40 still?
Yeah, we still got 40s.
We can look at those.
We can show off the 40 and give you an idea anyways.
It will give you an idea because they're roughly very, very similar, except this one is all blinged up.
Yeah.
Insanely cool sunburst. Love
Yes.
that one.
And I love when they do the 40s with the sunburst because the bling can really stand out against that darker finish.
Oh, yeah.
The natural finish looks good too, but again, when the ends get a little darker, I think that abalone binding really just stands out. I mean, these are all done by hand, but again, when you get down to the guitar itself, basically we're on the same platform here as the 20, so it can give you a good idea tonally of what that guitar is like. But yeah, these things are awesome. I do love their sunburst.
Vince was asking, what's
Eastman
that model? We were talking about the Alvarez Laureate LF a second ago. By the way, LF60.
Gotcha.
Just to answer that.
So yeah, here's the E40. Yeah, very well balanced. You know, I think in the end it's maybe a little bit more balanced than, say, the Alvarez, but I feel like that Alvarez has got a little more low end to it. So this one's got a little more articulation, I think a little more finesse, I don't know. Just a different animal, but man, these things are a joy to play.
Nice. All right. So next question that I see from Jennifer: do you plan to get any E20D MRTCs in?
That's a good question. That's a good question.
The thing is that if they are, to my knowledge, they're coming at the end of them. We got in an OM this last shipment. It's kind of like an if they have them, then maybe. We don't know for sure, honestly.
Yeah, and the Madagascar, I believe they're getting kind of towards the end of that in their batch. I mean, I don't know exactly what their stash looks like, but I know that whenever we did a big run last time, we took a chunk of it. So the Madagascar is starting to run a little thin, so I really don't know when we might see another. It really, like Hinckley said, it's kind of if they become available, we grab them.
We do have a shipment coming in on Tuesday, by the way. Don't know if you know that we have a huge Eastman shipment coming in again, so get excited for that takeover Tuesday. I do know, unfortunately, I don't think there's any E20D Madagascars on it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm sorry that we don't have a better answer. It's just kind of what it is.
Yeah,
Okay.
Madagascar is great, though. If you do find one, snag it up.
Yeah.
For sure.
Next, Ben, in that same realm, is asking E20 MRTC or a Bourgeois touchstone. At what point do you make the jump? They're only a few $100s apart. So I think he's thinking of the vintage touchstone.
Sure, yeah. And I mean, that's a good question, too, because we know the relationship between Eastman and Bourgeois, and there gets to be a kind of a fine line, right? I mean, this is a really nice hand-built instrument. So when you get to this level, well, what would make you want to go with a Bourgeois? But I do think there are some significant differences. And it may just be me, but whenever I do play the Touchstone Series Bourgeois, I still feel this extra level of quality. I don't know, finish or something. It feels like the finish work itself might be a little lighter, which I think lends to the instrument's response. This may be total hogwash, but this is just kind of what I am recognizing. But with any kind of Bourgeois, you expect this really high-level fit and finish, right? It needs to feel like a Bourgeois. It needs to have that responsiveness of a Bourgeois, or Dana wouldn't put his name on it. So I do think there's just an extra level of build in a Bourgeois. Like I said, these are completely handmade and a beautiful instrument. But I do think there is a slight difference between the two. Hopefully that kind of leans to what you're asking. I mean, they are different instruments, and there are different.
That's a tough decision.
criteria.
I mean, honestly, it's kind of like, I don't know, if you plan to have it for forever, I feel like might as well just go with a touchstone. I don't think that you would be upset with either. The E20MR, on the other hand, is a lot more limited. As we just said, you literally, if you find one, then good on you, but they are very limited. And even then, if you want to go even further than that, the signature touchstones are insane. I would put like a signature touchstone. I would buy one of those before either one of these, to be completely honest.
Yeah, for
if you
sure.
want
I
to
mean,
keep the Madagascar rosewood.
And again, it goes to, I mean, Dana Bourgeois has built a legacy there, and there's something to be said for that.
Yeah. Do you have an Eastman? So this is actually a great question. Bill says, do you have an Eastman 622 CE? Yes, we do. Unless it's sold, and it looks awesome. We should definitely get that out.
Let's
The
see
622?
here.
We showed it off last stream, but I'm happy to show it off again.
Oh, this one. I haven't seen this yet. Holy smokes.
It's gonna blow your mind. You know, I put in
Holy
the title
smokes.
that we have mind-blowing instruments. That was clickbait, my friends. But
We've been so busy today with everybody
It's
out of the
true.
shop, and I have been here all day. And I've walked by this guitar, apparently, and I have not seen this
did you
thing.
miss it? Well, there you go.
This thing
Live
is
reaction
awesome.
of Austin seeing this really, really pretty guitar.
Well, I mean, I mentioned it earlier. I think Eastman, and they didn't used to do a ton of sunburst whenever I first started seeing them, but I love their burst. I think they're really well done. Now this one, again, another thing I like appointment-wise is with the maple binding. The way that that goes against that darker burst, it just pops, stands out, helps you to notice the grain in it. And Eastman's wood selections. Their maples are impeccable.
Yeah. I'm going to answer a couple more things. Samuel's saying, so no John today. No, John's at Merle Fest with the other Chapmans and Trent and Jonas. They are all over there having a good old time. Let's see. Greetings from Switzerland. Thank you so much for joining us. So Ben is saying that the guitar would be a long-term and resale is not a factor for him. That's tough, honestly. I would recommend just trying to play both if you can. If we were to have both in stock, we offer tone samples to whoever, as long as you email us, and we can do that. We also do have these instruments. Of course, we've played them back to back, I believe, on our channel. So
yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
We do tone demos all the time. I mean, again, we try to make it as easy for you as possible to be able to get an idea of what the instrument is that you're getting before you purchase, and then give you that, peace of mind that if you purchase and it's not the correct one, that you can easily return it. But before having to go through that, we're happy to play these for you and put them through the paces and try and ask any questions that you might have.
You should play that one a little bit, the
This thing
622.
This thing's comfortable. This thing's awesome. This is a great stage guitar. I mean, I can just tell from the resonance of it that this would handle very well with the frequencies of a stage. It's super comfortable, and of course they've got the bevel and all of that. But yeah, this thing is awesome.
LR bag's already installed. The tone port's sick. The inlay is beautiful.
And one of the things too that you don't really see, but this is a nice high gloss finish. However, with a high gloss neck, a lot of times it gets kind of sticky or whatnot as you try and go up and down the neck. So they went with the satin finish, and then look at the way that they did the burst through the neck, up into the headstock, back again.
Oh yeah,
That
that
is
is actually also a
awesome.
little bit new. I don't think that we've seen one with a satin neck as opposed to, same thing with the headstock in general. The front of it is also satin, if I remember right, as opposed to gloss, which is an interesting switchover.
Yeah, this thing's beautiful.
Nice.
Awesome.
All right. If we could go on to the next plan of action, which is opening up some other new things.
Yeah, let's see what you brought over for me.
So I brought over a couple of cool things. I don't know if you've messed around much with the Furch Pioneers.
I haven't yet. I
And
know
also
Corey
a
has sold a
couple
couple of them, but I have not played one yet.
Well, you take your choice. There's that.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
I'm curious. Yeah, it's funny. We get these orders in, and so many of them will be pre-ordered or special orders, and a lot of times they don't even hit the sales floor. So it's nice to be able to have something that we could actually show you, and you can still purchase. All right. This is just a little feller.
Could you answer another question as well first, real quick?
Sure.
So Jennifer is asking, between the Bedell 1940 and the Boucher 42T, which has a thinner neck profile?
Man, that's a good question.
Do you know off the top of your head?
I think probably the Boucher. I'm not
I think that
positive.
you're right. I think that they tried to. I think that they might have beefed up the 1940, similar to John's guitar.
They were going for something a little bit thicker,
yeah.
I believe, because that is traditional to his style.
Yeah.
And those Bouchers tend to come in with, for what I think is a really comfortable, slimmer neck than that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to lean on that.
Okay.
Man, this thing is really... There's a lot of sound coming out of this thing. This thing is fun. If you ever driven a go-kart that's really fast and like handles really well, that is what this is reminding me of.
I love
mean,
that.
like-
I love that that metaphor for
It's
that.
like, this is
That's
dangerous. This thing's...
Great. Do you like the sound port on that one? It's even more low key.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I mean, well, I'm kind of just taking it back. Again, you get a guitar in your hand for the first time, you start taking it in. This thing sounds awesome. This is like, there's a ton of woodiness coming out of it. It's got volume there that you don't lack in these smaller guitars. The tone port's cool. I think that's part of the experience of playing it, is that you actually do get some of that air pushed up towards you. This thing is a blast. This is awesome.
I'm seeing a bunch of your requests, by the way, also in there, guys. We will definitely get to those in a moment. Speaking of Furch, though, we did get this question a little earlier. So Evan is asking, what are your thoughts on the Furch Vintage OM SM versus an Eastman E20 OM? So
That's a good one.
that's a lot to unpack,
They're
actually.
both great. They're different in the fact that I find Eastman to be a little bit more focused. Maybe we say focused and articulate, but and these words are kind of hard to wrap around a note. But they just have a very almost like a compressed note compared to the Furch. Like just this one in general, just the Furch finish, they just sound a little bit more open and resonant in that sense. So I know the vintage OM and the vintage Dreads are some of my favorite Furchs because they have that kind of nice, open, just classic acoustic guitar sound. In my Eastmans, I mean, my E6 slope shoulder is one of my favorite guitars to play. Because it's just so well balanced, and each note you can really hear almost like a piano note versus you know, a wooden string instrument. So yeah, they're both great but different.
Yeah. So next, can we hear the Dreadnought certified E20 SSTC? And I got serial number 2. If we have it over here, absolutely. Do you know if we have that?
I'm not sure. I
Okay.
thought that one may have sold as well, but I may be thinking of something else.
Okay.
Well,
I know
that's
that
a
an
fun guitar. These
E10
little
will-
Furchs are great.
I know that an E10 SS, I think, sold. So E20 SS TC, I'm looking over here right now.
In the varnish finish, is that right?
No, this one isn't a varnish, actually. Yes, we have it right here. I'll bring it over for you.
Awesome. Thank
There
you.
you go. No problem. So we have no problem playing that one. And then next I'm seeing a Cedar / Sitka comparison. We can certainly get to that. I think that we have some Eastmans that we can, do that with.
All right, so the E2000. And yeah, that again, their sunbursts are awesome. I like this one's actually got a little more yellow into it, kind of an antique-y
Yeah, that's
coloring
like their
going to it.
older sunburst.
Very cool. Now, I think the secret here, these things are comfortable. I mean, instead of like the big Dreads or whatnot, you still have a lot of bout, so you're not kind of losing in on the bass or the low end presence, but they really bring in those shoulders to give you a nice, comfortable feel. Kind of hear what I mean by that Eastman articulation. I mean, each note you can hear it clearly defined, and it's so well balanced. I mean, they just have a great tonal characteristic to them. And yeah, super comfortable. These are great guitars.
Nice, nice, nice. All right, so the next request was a Cedar Sitka comparison with specifically they were asking for the E1D Deluxes.
Okay.
I don't think that we have those though. Let's see.
Don't believe we have a Deluxe in.
Yeah,
I think
E1D Classic versus an E2D Deluxe. What do we have is the question. I know that we have a 122 and a 222.
Yeah.
So we can do that body style.
But hey, let's see,
We
this
do
is
have an E2 right here. Well, I guess we technically can do it. They're literally just right here. These were the two that he was wanting, actually.
Oh, okay, perfect.
So E2D Deluxe. Sorry, I didn't see these.
This will be a
And
good comparison.
E1D Classic. Yep. I can hold one of them too if you need.
All right. Well,
How about Dawson and I just hold both
Yeah,
of them? And then
well,
you
we'll
just
start
talk
with
about
the
them.
E1 here in the classic finish, which is kind of one of my favorites Eastman does. I mean, it's not like a burst or anything, but it gives us some characteristic, other than just a natural finish. A little bit vintagey. And then again, going back to the satin finish, I think when you just strum an open chord, it's just a nice, huge sound. So yeah, it's just big and bold. And then, yeah, a couple of difference here is, of course, you're going from the satin to the gloss finish. And again, I think that, you know, the gloss is always going to kind of give it a little bit more, I don't want to say choke of the woods, but almost do that to where it just compresses it so that the notes are even more articulate. If you can hear how each one just kind of is a little bit separated, doesn't have that kind of mid-range thing in between them. It really makes for nice individual note enunciation. And then traditionally, when you talk about a Sitka versus a Cedar, I think because Cedar is a little bit softer wood, it tends to have a little bit more flex, which tends to give it a little more mid-range than a Sitka or spruce wood in most of what I find. And I think that that lends itself really well for, well, you'll see a lot of classical guitars that have a cedar top, just to really give that nice big sound whenever you're doing individual notes. And yeah, I mean, they're awesome tone woods. Not typically known for like bluegrass, but again, those of us in the rhythm world, I've got a couple of cedar guitars and I love them. They're just a little warmer, a little more subtle, but perfect for, you know, if you're going to sit around and sing a love song for your girlfriend, you don't want a tone wood that's just going to be the loudest thing in the world. And cedars are nice and subtle. And they have a lot of nuances you can't find in a spruce.
Love it. All right, fun question time. What is your most expensive guitar in the store? Follow up, would you trade one of your own guitars for it?
That's a good question. I think, boy, I'm sure that there's more expensive guitars than what I mean, right now we've got the Bourgeois signature at around 10.
That Cruise.
I'm pretty sure that the
The
Santa
Santa
Cruz is the most...
which is hidden around
yeah.
the corner. I don't even remember what that's priced at. 17. So, I mean, they get up there. And what was the other part? Would I trade?
You should play the Santa Cruz. Would you
Yeah.
trade one of your guitars for the Santa Cruz?
I would trade one of mine.
Just like the worst one.
It depend. Yeah, it would depend on which one.
The one that's a little broken.
I mean, let's face
Oh.
it. I've got a guitar that's one of my least valued or least valuable instruments. It's a 12-string early 70s Ventura, you know, kind of a hummingbird copy. I would say the value of that street value is only a few $100, if that. But that was my dad's guitar, and it was the guitar I learned my first chords on it. I would not trade that for the world. However, I've got a lot of other guitars I would be happy to trade for this one. But guitars are weird because we get so attached to them for different reasons. Whether it's the guitars I played on the road, all the dings and marks, and I've got one with a huge ding from one of my first gigs I played on tour in Lubbock, Texas, and man, that guitar has got so many stories. I could never get rid of it. But then I could get rid of a few others for this thing.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna answer a couple more things. By the way, I saw the request for a McPherson touring. We can definitely get to that. And then thank you very much, Victor. Said that's a beautiful guitar shop. If you have a Martin D28, would love to hear it. We certainly do, and we can play that. We played a satin one a little bit at the beginning, but we can certainly get to a gloss one if you prefer. Just let us know. Rolo, welcome in. No worries. We're glad that you're watching right now. Welcome in, everybody. All right. But right now, Santa Cruz.
Man, I was just trying to tune this thing up, and you can feel it, when you strum even just softly, and you can feel the whole back of the guitar just going crazy. This thing is a sound cannon.
So what makes that one so much money? Or, yeah, what makes that one so expensive?
No, I think like anything, whenever you get into the materials it's built with, the time and the effort and that they put these things into, that's where you start to get into these price things. This particular one, I believe, has some credential to being a very early...
It's the Tony Rice original, yeah. It was like an original one that they showed allegedly at NAMM.
Runs or something like that. So there's some history there to it as well. But yeah, I mean, when you get into any older instrument, really provenance can come from all kinds of history, whether it was the first of a series, whether a particular player had it, designed it, or had some kind of influence. And then, of course, like I said, there's the material, the time, and the effort. I mean, you get into a Santa Cruz, and just the level of build that is the upper end of what guitar builders are doing. So, yeah, these things are awesome, and this one's in impeccable shape. This particular consignor is definitely one who takes care of his instruments.
Oh yeah, I mean that's incredible. So, going on from that, Okay, Tress is asking, could you please play the McPherson touring?
Absolutely.
Yes, that's also Brazilian, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, that dark.
That'll up the price too. So McPherson touring. We got some.
I think I had those over next to the Cedar.
Yeah, I see them now. Yeah. And then we can certainly get to the D28 after that. What year is the SC? Do you remember the year of the Santa Cruz real quick, Corey?
2008. It's the very first of when they were doing from 1934 Ds to the Santa Cruz model. It was a NAMM special.
Yeah. Corey just corroborated that the Santa Cruz was a NAMM special, in case you guys didn't hear him from the mics. And apparently is a 2008 Santa Cruz.
Very, very special guitar.
Very, very special.
So here's the touring McPherson. And this is another one of those that I think is like that hot rodded go-kart, to where they're so fun to play. You wouldn't think that you would get that much out of a smaller platform like this, but of course their secret is that it's the most stable guitar on the market, right? So if you're looking to have something that you can travel with, that you can gig outside with, these do have the pickup in them. They sound really pretty dang good unplugged. But as a stable guitar, I mean, whenever you plug them in on stage, you've got a great platform. They sound killer. They don't feed back like you would a D28 or something like that. But yeah, I mean, if you're ever just out traveling, this thing's great. Those things are fun. You know, really a pretty comfortable neck. You don't feel like you're playing a you know, scaled down guitar so far as the neck profile. Obviously it's a shorter scale, so everything's brought in for you, but with the size of the body and the bout, it still pushes a ton of air, so it's not thin sounding, you know, just naturally unplugged. It's got plenty of room in the cavity for that air, and yeah, man, these things are killer. They come in right at like the $27.99, I believe. Yeah, and so these things are awesome. So
on the same topic, could you recommend a pick for carbon fiber guitars?
Well, sure. I mean, I've got a couple of different picks here. I don't know if we'll be able to tell the difference just between the sound. It's pretty much the same, but I think that with carbon fiber, if you go into a Durlin pick, something like this, you're probably going to notice a little bit more pick click. Go into a blue chip or something like that, I think some of the clickiness may go away. Let's see if I'm right. Yeah, maybe so, slightly. But I do think, you know, different materials will have a little bit different sound. If you go to a celluloid pick, that will definitely be clicky. You know, and if you don't like that sound, I mean, because picks are all personal preference. So if you ever have something where you really have too much of a pick sound off of the string, I mean, try a nylon. The bluegrassers are going to kill me for saying that, but a nylon pick has a very soft attack, and if you really want to subtle it up, try one of those. But I would probably just do a Durlin, or I really like the blue chip myself, so it's a player preference.
Next, Victor is asking for a Gloss D28 demo.
Okay.
No problem. I'm going to answer some more stuff in here. So Giovanni was asking, can you play the Taylor 214 CE? We actually do not have Taylors here. If we would, if we could, we would.
I thought we had one on consignment at one point, but
we have
sold.
We have like a PS14 right now on consignment, so yeah.
Yeah, we would love, call your local Taylor person and say, Taylor, we want the acoustic shop to sell your guitars.
Without giving up business secrets, do we make a better profit on, I think that's supposed to be consignment sales, or new guitar sales are about the same? I'm pretty sure it's new stuff, but I honestly don't know.
Yeah, and to tell you the truth, I mean, I don't think I'm giving away any kind of secrets here, but whenever a consigner consigns an instrument through us, in general, they're going to get about 75% of the selling price, depending on the price of the instrument. So that leaves us with about a 25% margin. Quite frankly, if we made that on our instruments and our accessories that we sold, we wouldn't have a store because Hinckley's really expensive.
Yes.
And we got to pay for the best. And if you want the best, you got to pay for the best. So in the end, we need...
Dawson's really expensive too.
Yeah, Dawson. I mean, these people come at a cost, this level
Big
of
bucks.
employee. So,
Big bucks.
so yeah, I mean, we do definitely, you make the better end of the deal on the consignment so far as that goes. But for us, it's always nice to be able to get cool used instruments in the shop. And, you know, and it's also one of those things, too, to where as a business, you know, we're able to be able to sell an instrument without having to have to pay for that inventory at that time. So it helps a little bit there. So I don't think I'm giving away any deep secrets. Jeremy may end up texting me saying you're fired, but
so I can't believe that you would say that.
I can't believe you told him everything
no, I
about
think
how.
That's I mean, you could probably ask like a GameStop the exact same question. You know what I mean? They make less on stuff that's
Sure,
traded in or whatever,
sure.
you know.
But it's cool to
Same
have.
vibes.
It's stuff we
Yeah,
can't
oh,
get
yeah.
new. I can't get that Santa Cruz in,
Oh, no,
if I
yeah.
just wanted to order.
That's a really good point. Yeah.
Okay, what are we playing here? Oh, this is the 28.
Yeah,
the gloss.
D28 gloss requested by Victor.
Victor, this is the new version too. So this is going to have the 25 specs, the golden arrow bracing. And yeah, I mean, it is a different sounding guitar than the old specs. I think it's a little bit more responsive. I think it's obvious why they did the changes that they did to it. I don't know if you were watching earlier, we played the satin, so this will be a good comparison kind of next to it.
Yeah, you could always go back also and give it a little listen if you feel.
It just made me want to do that. I don't know. It sounds like an Alabama guitar. So yeah, man, D28 through and through. I mean, it still has that Martin woodiness, presence, boxiness, fills the room. But to me, again, it just seems a little bit more articulate, a little bit more, subdued in the vibration so far as compared to the satin. But that's what I would want if I'm looking for each individual note to really jump out. I'm going to want to have that articulation. Great guitars, man. I love the new 25 specs. These things are killer.
Oh, yeah. All right, next one that I see here. Asking to play the Dreadnought certified Alvarez DYM R70. Let me see if that's here. I hope it is. I might have to request Dawson to grab it.
Is it next
Maybe.
door?
Maybe. I'm not seeing one. Never mind, it's right here. Dreadnought certified. Yes, Masterworks R70. There we go.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. Look at those dudes.
Hey, look, there's Corey.
Vince just said that Jeremy is being slammed running the cash register. That's great.
Good, man. He needs
a
it.
good thing.
You
That's
know,
what I wanna
he's in
hear.
there doing spreadsheets all the
He needs it.
time.
That's
He's
wild.
basically, we chain him to his desk and make him just pay bills and do all the crap work. So finally, he gets to get out there and be a part of the locals. So it's good for him.
Exactly. And then thank you guys so much for the questions also. We'll definitely get to them. Next request I see is the D18. Could you also answer this one real quick? Is the standard McPherson carbon fiber a Dreadnought size or like a concert size?
You know, without having the measurements, I'm going to say it's more of a grand auditorium
Close,
in
yeah.
the body style.
Definitely more of like a concert, and I'm just looking at it. So,
Right. It's
yeah.
not as big as a Dread.
Yeah.
And definitely feels more like a grand auditorium or something of that, or a concert in the lap.
Yeah.
As opposed to this one feels like a Dreadnought. I can kind of just rest my head on the top of it. You know, it's such a big box. Going into that slope shoulder thing, which I've recently gotten into and love. And of course it's an Alvarez, so you can't go wrong there. This one comes in at $22.75. It is definitely a Dread through and through. I mean, my arm is just up at the top of this thing. I always think Dreads, I have to think about driving a big truck or something like that. I love them. I've got an old Jeep, and you know, when you drive them, you just kind of, you gotta drive the thing. It doesn't drive itself. So I really love the feel of that.
I saw that in the parking lot, and I was like, who is driving around like as if they're in Jurassic Park right now? I saw that. No, it looked really cool though.
Oh, it's official, man.
Yeah.
If you're into the Jeep thing, it was my first vehicle.
Really?
When I
That's
turned
so
16.
cool.
And I was, it's a 1980, and we got it in like 85 or something, so it's been in the family for a long time.
Wild, actually.
Now, I was not 16 in 85, so it took a few years before it got to me. It went through 2 other teenage boys. So if you can imagine a Jeep going through 3 teenage boys. It looks real nice. Almost. I'm going sharp, aren't I? I'm not like John where I can just pick these things out and tune them right up.
So that is a 12 fret. What is the scale length?
This looks to be probably a 24 3/4-ish. I mean, I'm just
Does
looking,
it say it
feeling
on the thing?
Doesn't say on it,
Does it say it? Okay.
but that would be my guess. These things are cool, man.
I looked up the specs, by the way, and it is a 25.5.
It is 25. All right. There's maybe throw me off with that 12 fret, but yeah, these things are cool. Again, I think Alvarez, for some reason, to me, maybe it's just playing it in my lap, but they seem to have a low-end presence that comes through that a lot of other manufacturers just aren't capturing. They have just a great roundness to that low end. It really is, just fills the room. These things are awesome.
All right, can you try the D18 next?
Okay, D18.
And then do all of the new, here, I can grab that one, yeah. And then do all of the new 2025 D18s have the same neck profile? Yes.
Well, I think of the standard series, but I believe if you get into like the
Oh, yeah.
the modern deluxe or on and so forth, they do change some of the necks.
Yes.
So we're looking for 18s here.
Yeah, so the authentic and the like modern deluxe, those didn't change. That's why I didn't think about the 25 part of it. Those of authentic modern deluxe stayed the same. The new standard series, yeah.
Well, I have a modern deluxe 18.
They were just looking for a standard one. Do we not have a
I
standard
don't
one?
see a standard 18 unless I'm just blind out here. Because this is the Retro Plus. Yeah, I don't see a standard 18.
I think that we have one in the hall that was a layaway.
Oh, wait. Nope, that's a Retro Plus too. But I do have.
I mean, that's a step
I mean,
up.
it's a different animal altogether.
Yeah.
But now I kind of do like these. I mean, they're coming in at $37.99. But the yeah, the modern deluxe is actually kind of more my style. I think again, you go to the 18s like Corey's Authentic and that neck profile on there, that vintage huge feel for us rhythm players can sometimes be a bit much. This one goes back to a little bit more that Alvarez kind of thickness, you know, to where it's a lot thinner and it's super comfortable.
You know what I just realized? I don't know why I totally forgot. They probably have the D18 that we have at Merle Fest, so I didn't
sure
realize
they
that.
do.
Yeah.
I'm gonna blame them anyways.
I forgot that they like took stuff, so that one's most likely with the rest of our crew.
Man, I really like this version. I do like the 18s. I think a little bit more than the 28s. Just I'm in a mahogany chapter of life, but the neck profile on these I really love. So if you are looking for Martins, you want to get that Martin sound, but you always feel like you struggle with the chunky Martin neck, definitely check out the Modern Deluxe because these I think are way more comfortable for those of us who like that slimmer profile.
Battery.
Are we dying?
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
So you guys gotta like.
You wrap this thing
Do
up?
you just want to go grab it? Actually, yeah, just put it down. No, we're good. So
Okay.
they can still hear you at the moment. So next question was, could you play the standard size McPherson?
Oh, yeah.
So since you guys can still hear us, and we'll be back in just a moment. Battery died. Does the modern Deluxe have Evo frets?
I believe so, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, the gold Evos.
And the version that we just played, Giovanni, was the D18 Modern Deluxe. Sorry, guys. We'll be back in just a second. Let me see if I have any other questions. Okay, since we're on podcast mode, Robert is asking, I love stories of finding garage sale guitars that turn out to be great. What is your garage sale guitar story, if you have one?
Yeah, you
So
know,
to say.
I've never found that instrument that like, oh, I bought this for $25 and it's worth $25,000. You know, I did find a guitar that really kind of changed my trajectory so far as a musician, and it was my first nylon guitar. I mean, typically I grew up playing rock and roll, country, steel string, acoustic stuff, and electric. I was more of an electric player as a young kid, but. When I got a nylon string guitar, it kind of focused the way I played totally different. One, because the nut width was unlike anything I'd played, and then just the attack.
We back.
And so I found nylon to really be kind of more melodic, and it actually got me to where I felt comfortable songwriting, a little more comfortable because it was making me focus on the melody more than just like, I'm going to write a song with a G, C, and D. So I really think that $25 or whatever it was I bought that guitar for probably had the most impact, because it really did make me realize that just because a guitar is not what you're used to, if you spend a little time with it, it'll probably show you things you didn't know you wanted to do or that you could do. And so, yeah, I mean, obviously, whenever you're used to a certain nut width or a certain neck profile and you get something different, and it doesn't feel like what you're used to, that can be a struggle. But definitely, I recommend, especially with a new guitar and you're trying something new, to give it a little bit of time and see if that guitar doesn't tell you to do something else with it that you enjoy, that you just can't simply do on your other instruments. So, yeah, I guess that's a long-winded way of saying, like, I haven't found anything valuable, but I definitely have found value for myself in some of those garage sale finds.
All right, so here's this request. And speaking of nylon, actually, we have a request for you to play the Cabaret, which I think should be over here. So
yeah,
rip on this one. So this is the standard sable size.
Yeah, this is the standard, more full-sized McPhersons. Yeah, I mean, these things are awesome. These things are cool. I would like to, I've never played with one of these on a stage, but I think these would be great for a rock and roll set. They're so forgiving. You can play them like electric. Kind of play them like an electric, you know, and get the... So they're a little bit different than your regular acoustic experience.
Speaking of, so let's go over to the Cabaret.
Yeah.
And then your next question, your next thinking question. That's what I'm gonna call these ones. These are like some opinion pieces. What attributes do you think makes a guitar a great stage guitar?
Well, there's a couple things to think about. One of them is, what are you doing on stage? You know, if you're playing by yourself on stage, just you and a guitar, you're going to be asking a lot of that guitar, right? It needs to be able to balance with your voice. It needs to be able to fill the room, the sound, and towards the style that you want. So there's a lot of different things to consider there. In general, like if I'm doing solo acoustic stuff, I would like to have something that's going to be nice and full sounding, you know, really try and really fill the room with as much sound as possible. However, if I'm playing with my Southern rock band and I've got a bass player, a drummer, 2 lead guitar players, and I'm holding down on the acoustic, that's a different animal, man. I mean, I'm going to have something that's going to be a little more stable, that the other instruments aren't going to interfere with. So, I mean, I would use a different pickup and probably a different guitar. Most of the time in those situations, you don't want the most vibratory guitar that you can find, like you do when you're unplugged, because that thing's going to be, you're going to be arm wrestling the vibration and the feedback. So that's one of the reasons those McPhersons do so well, is they're so controllable. You know, you get some of these super resonant Martin Satins and you start, you know, getting vibration going through those and they will take off on you. They do not want to stop. So I do think there's something to be said for the style of music that you're playing and what you're asking of the instrument. And then it depends. Anything from a carbon fiber to a D28 would be good, but it just depends. The bluegrass thing, one of my favorite things about bluegrass is whenever they play around a single microphone. And they all lean in and they play that microphone, right? And you get a guitar loud enough and you can do that. You can dynamically back off and whatnot. But if you took that one microphone and then put it in the middle of my Southern rock band and tried to pick up the drummer, the bass player, you know, it just would not work. So the application comes in to play quite a bit with that. So I don't know if there's a single answer to that or if that did you any good, but I do think sometimes you don't want the most resonant guitar if you're going to be playing through a PA system or on stage, just because it can be uncontrollable. But we all like different things, and yeah, it just depends on what works best for your application.
Yeah. Okay, so as a caveat, by the way, guys, this is going to be the last thing I think that we're going to show off, and then we got to get out of here. We got some stuff to do, some more videos to make.
Kind of going into a trance there. I'm sorry. This thing's awesome.
Have you seen one of these? Or no, yeah, this is like one of the first ones that we've ever gotten in.
I've seen them at NAMM, and I started talking to John, and I was like, you know, we need to get more nylons. And again, I'm not a classical player, but whenever I got my first nylon, it just made me think of the guitar different. It made me think of my experience with the instrument differently, because it is so much more individual notes instead of, I'm not generally sitting around doing that as much as I am trying to find out what melodies like, you know, and I really enjoy the subtlety of a nylon string guitar. These things are awesome. Of course, it's got all of Eastman's fit and finish and their woods. I'm just laughing because of the side. This side of this thing, let me show you that real quick. Look at the side. Like that's such a beautiful violin grade maple, you know. I mean, that is an awesome guitar. And so yeah, if you're looking for a nicer nylon string guitar without getting into the nylon string guitar boutique prices, if you've shopped, you know what they are. This is right at $3,039, and these are beautiful.
They said play it Willie style.
Willie Nelson. See, oh man, he's got all those kind of weird. You gotta have the weird timing. You know? I don't know. I'm not really much of a Willie Nelson player, but I do like that kind of southwest sound, you know, that you get out of. A little bit more of that southwest country style, I guess. Yeah, he would definitely do a slow.
You did it.
There you go, Willie Nelson singing us out.
So last question, real quick, if I could.
Yeah.
So this is just because it's Austin Day. And I will allow this because the Chapmans are not here right now. Austin, what is your go-to electric guitar?
Go-to electric guitar.
And this is the only time that we will say electric guitar on this show
Man.
for the next, like, year. Okay, you get one a year.
That's a good question because I haven't been playing electric recently. I will say this. My favorite electric I ever had, which unfortunately ended up getting stolen. And you guys
Really?
can, yeah, and you can laugh
Hold
it
on,
off.
the camera went away again. Why? We're still here, guys, I promise. No, I think it might be on my end. Yeah, you can keep going.
But anyways,
Yeah.
you don't need to be able to see me to be able to hear this anyways.
Exactly.
It was a PVT 60. And now this was a guitar that I had gotten used in a pawn shop for around $100 with an amp. And
That's okay.
kind of lost interest in guitar, but then whenever I started playing professionally, this guitar came out of the closet. And even though I was primarily an acoustic player, I took this thing on the road and I had to do like LaGrange and a couple of electric pieces with it. And so I took it on the road and toured and put hundreds of shows on that guitar. And I loved it. I think, you know, PV made some great stuff. It's USA made. It was one of those that had the steel nut on it. It had killer sustain. And I did have some DiMarzio pickups put in the bridge. So that was my personal favorite, but again, it was just the one that I bonded with. I wish I could find that thing. That's one of those that, even though the value is only worth a few $100 these days, I would pay $3,000 if I could get that one back. Other than that, my go-to like brand or style, I love Tellys, and I love the thin line Tellys. If I could find that 77 thin line Telecaster that I didn't buy that one day in the Guitar Center, that would be probably
Yes.
my dream guitar would be a 77 thin line natural finish Telly.
Okay,
in,
there we go.
In the electric world.
It was pointed out that I think it was because we mentioned electric guitar that the video immediately died, and I agree. I agree
And
entirely.
we hexed it.
And we
It's
it
okay,
hexed
man.
us for discussing even such a thing. No, that's really cool. Thank you very much for sharing that.
Yeah, man.
Thank you, Austin, for doing this. We will definitely get you on here some more.
Thank you guys for
yeah.
watching, man. This is a ton of fun. I love being able to kind of chat with you guys. I mean, if you need anything, give us a call. We love connecting with you. And yeah, definitely. Thanks for having me. This has been a ton of fun.
Absolutely. All right, phone's right there, by the way. If you guys see anything that you would really, really like, and for some reason if it's not on the website, that's what you can call. You can talk to, as of right now, you can talk to Austin or Corey or Dawson. Nobody else is here at the moment. But we will be back next week, guys, with more lives. And the Chapmans will be back from Merlefest. All right, see you guys.
See ya.
Bye-bye. Play us out. Was that yours?
That did my worst.